Hello everybody and welcome to what quite a sad sight really. As you can see, there's some bits of plane on the desk and there's quite a few cracks and things. I'll disassemble it as in a moment for you so you can see the exact extent. Basically this was the second flight of the MyTwinDream Dream that ended in disaster about 5 seconds after takeoff. Basically the first flight was fine, except I'd somehow managed to get the ailerons reversed for stabilisation on the FY41. No problem, landed it, sorted it. But in order to get into the menu where you can do that, you need to flick a switch up and down to get into a menu, and then you use your elevator and aileron joystick to control the menu. The problem I had is that apparently I had attempted to install, some dual rates for some weird reason, yeah, I flicked it into the different dual rates so I could have full 100% movement in order to make the menu work. But unfortunately, when I took off, I was still in that mode, or I'd flicked into some sort of weird mode. So when it took off, the first flight it needed full up trim. It took off this time. I think I must have been at some sort of low rate when I was in high rate or something like that. So I just held full power, and it was only just climbing. And as I realised that it was going into disaster, I started to. This is all in manual mode, by the way. I began to reduce the throttle, and it just dived and hit the floor. My 360-degree camera was actually on top of the canopy. So maybe I'll cut in the footage of the incident, not in 360 but just in sort of stabilised. But you can see how quick it went from. It seemed a lot longer when I was flying it, let's put it that way. You know, as time slows down, I try and work out what to do. But even as it was flying away, I was checking switches, trying to work out what the hell had happened. We're just full power. As I reduced power to give up and the speed went down, it just hit the floor. As far as I can see, all of the electronics are okay, except for this servo, which I believe will be stripped. The horn's broken, and because it's a 180 degree, it's going to be hard to get another one. And the cable's ripped out the bottom of it, so this servo is knackered. But as far as I can tell, everything else is fine, other than a few props, and obviously the foam. I mean, even the carbon tubes seem okay. Because I actually had the 360 degree camera tied around the tube as like a last resort in case the sticky came off, because it was cold. And as you can see, the undercarriage has burst out the bottom. I'm going to start disassembling it for you now. Yeah, as you can tell, it's in quite a bad state. The tail's fine. We've got the side, we've got the wing section here. The wings have also, probably a good thing actually, they've actually separated. And looking at this, the glue just hasn't really stuck at all. That was Gorilla Glue. I should have spent more time sanding off the mould release. So the question is this plane repairable, as I show you in its more sort of broken state? The way to sort of determine if a model is repairable is if anything of critical mass has been moved. Example, has the wing or the tail come off? Well, yes, the wing's in a kind of bad state, but everything locks together really well, so I don't think it'd be too bad. But the main thing that concerns me is the motors. This one isn't too bad. This one came off as like a big chunk, and you can just put it on there and it fits fine. This one's a bit more of a problem because it sort of ripped the outer rim out. You can see some of the pieces of the rim. Depends how strong I can make that. If I can fix that, then I think this will go together. The only other problem we've got as well is the wing attachment was actually snapped off of here. So other than the motors, that's the most complicated bit, trying to get another set of these. Whether you can purchase them or whether you can possibly 3D print some, because I do have a 3D printer. But yeah, kind of sad. Maybe about 5 minutes of flight before this model broke. I'm not too bothered about the price. I think it was like £85 delivered, so it wasn't that expensive. but it's the time that it took to put it together, which is why I'm more tempted to rebuild it than anything else. Because there are a couple more twins that I'm looking at. You've got the XUAV Clouds and XUAV Mini Snow Goose, or whatever it's called. That especially the Clouds, I'm pretty sure everything will just go straight into it. And Bangle keeps sending me ads for both of them. But yeah, we'll see how we get on with this one to begin with. See, as I say, I'm going to deal with the motors first, so you can sort of see the problem there. And look if we can 3D print more of these, because if we can, then I'll have a go rebuilding it and see what happens. But yeah, sad news really, but this should happen.